Okay, I'm sure quite a few of you have been waiting for some kind of an update on the Lincoln Zephyr project. Now this is the 38. I had to stop and think. Since there's a 39 project and a 38 project, I'm having to take a minute. This is the 38 Zephyr, and it's time for an update on it. We're going to kind of cover some things, some that are visually interesting and some that we just need to give you a rundown that is not as visual. We're doing our best and try to keep this moving along. Okay, so JB, people are anxious for an update. I'm sure you're going as fast as you can, but there's obviously struggles with materials and parts and things.
Yep,
Why don't you give us an update? Now, this is the 38
that's correct.
Zephyr.
Yeah, we've got it covered up to protect the paint because the paint is done.
Right.
And
Okay.
it's very important. This is a really lightweight scrim that you can buy at an auto body store. This saves huge amount of time and expense going back, getting overspray off of cars or dust. Now, dust is probably the worst thing you can get on a new paint because it's abrasive, and all you got to do is drag something over it and it'll scratch the paint.
Right.
So it's really important to keep these body panels that are already finished covered while you're working on the rest of the car. So it's kind of a dance between getting ahead of yourself and doing things at the appropriate time and then protecting them. And that's what we got going on here.
And in a way, it'd be kind of fun to peel that off and show it off, but
Yes.
it's not the point of what's going on right now.
Yeah, and we did that with the 39. The owner was here about a week ago.
Okay.
And when we took the cover off the 39, I thought his knees were going to buckle. He kind of looked down the side of it. He said, "I can't see anything." I said, "That's exactly what you're not supposed to see."
Right.
In other words, he was looking for a wave or a ripple.
Yeah.
Just aren't any.
Right.
And so it was really a great visit, and he was tickled with what he saw. And then we also worked on his wood grain because he had a very special requirement on the wood grain, and that's what Tony's.
You know, we're going to have to do a different video segment on that wood graining, I think.
Yeah, very, very critical to the look of the inside of the car, which is like we talked about in the past. The factory kind of dropped the ball there, just made it a single kind of a boring color, and you have all these round shapes and beautiful things that you can complement if you do it in a wood grain.
Yeah.
And people aren't accustomed to seeing it because it's hard to do, and it's kind of a lost art in some ways. But our guys here have done it a number of times, and they're getting real good at it.
Right.
This is
okay. No. So back to the 38 here.
Yes.
What are some things that have happened recently? What's going on with it?
Well, in order to get this covered up, we created a special cover that allows an access to the shifter. Now, when this is built in, this will be built into the car, so we don't want that to have to come apart. But if you had to have access to the shifter, the transmission below it, you'd want to have some sort of cover that comes off underneath the carpeting so you can get access to it, service it, check it, and make some adjustments if necessary.
Yeah.
This cover right here doesn't really need to go anywhere, so it's pretty much in place. So we'll just carpet over it along with some insulation on the floor. And as you can see, we already have the insulated cover that goes on the firewall to kind of try to keep that heat from migrating into the passenger compartment.
Right.
And if you notice over there on the left, you just see the one pedal.
Yeah.
Obviously, since there is no clutch in this car any longer, we just need the one pedal. We just need the gas pedal and a brake pedal.
Right.
So that's what you got going on there.
Excellent. And what are you holding there?
Okay, this is the clock for the car. We just was able to get it to operate. This is an 80-year-old clock.
Yeah. Wow.
If you could feel the heft of it, you'd know why it still works perfectly.
Okay.
Because, I mean, in those days, there was an expectation that if you were going to buy a Lincoln or you're going to buy a Cadillac, that there was going to be a higher level of quality that was going to be intrinsic to the car. And the people that own these cars had much more expensive cars than even the Zephyrs and the other Lincolns. So their expectation was everything's going to work and it's going to keep working.
Right.
Some of these cars have been in the family for 50 years.
Yeah.
Or longer. So if things didn't work, then they wanted to know why, and they certainly were not going to line up for another one if they had problems with the first one they bought. So it was very important to the manufacturers to do a good job, and it was almost universal in this era. But Lincoln was especially good at attending to that and being conscious of the fact that people had an expectation of quality of endurance, and also the ride had to be good, the responsiveness of the motor, the durability of the transmission. All those things played into whether they were going to buy one and if they were going to buy another one.
Right.
And that was very important to all the car companies, but especially it was true at Lincoln.
Right.
So this clock, we spent about 2 or 3 hours with it, cleaning it. We just did a little bit of solder on one of the springs,
Okay.
and immediately jumped to life. And we've checked it, and it keeps absolutely perfect time.
Excellent.
Okay,
so that's
it'll
ready
go
to
in
be
the dash.
installed now, I guess.
Exactly. These things will be built, and whenever the dash is completed, then all the instruments can go back in. We already have the center instrument, which in the 38 combines all of those features. So instead of seeing an array of smaller gauges, you have this one giant gauge, and this is one of the trademarks of the Lincoln.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, and now taking a look back here.
Right.
This obviously is getting ready to be, some exhaust work getting done, right?
Right. Well, we did a tentative start on the engine. The engine is built with the expectation there's a little bit of back pressure. So the muffler creates that back pressure. All right. You want to run straight pipe, you can do that, but you have to do some adjustments on the engine itself, like in a racing condition.
Okay.
That's a completely different set of performance criteria than if you're going to drive it on the street. So we're kind of in the muddy middle. We have to test the engine, but we don't want it to run very long unless it has a muffler on it.
Right.
Because that creates that back pressure that the engine is accustomed to feeling, and it's part of its operational performance.
Okay.
So we're not going to obviously leave the muffler off, and we're not going to run it that long without it.
So is this
These are the pieces, some of the pieces that will be used to generate the exhaust system for the 38.
Now, is this kind of a performance exhaust or quiet exhaust, or kind of where does this land?
Yeah, we're going for quiet. Lincoln V12s have a bit of a rumble to them, and on the other cars that we've done, you can muffle a lot, and you're still going to get that rumble. So it's really important, however, for the long range benefit of the engine, that this exhaust system be tuned with respect to that engine.
Okay.
Okay. You can't just say they're two undivorced things. In racing, they have actual experts that fly around the country, and they actually go to the race shop, and they design the exhaust systems for those race cars.
Okay.
The guys don't do it in their own shop. It's too important. Very technical. We're talking about airflow and back pressures and a lot of things. In racing and in a high performance engine like a V12, that stuff becomes important.
Yeah.
You want to get the most out of it.
So obviously, I'm seeing some clamps and hangers.
Right. And these bins, of course, to make a circuitous route around a particular item.
Yep. And
These tips we're looking at, they're a little bit different than the round ones. We think they're a little bit nicer looking.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do that in this case. Obviously, the hangers are generic, and they're rubber mounted so that you don't have the harshness of the exhaust rumbling around in there and sending that up through the frame.
Sure.
And remember, the 38s and 9s were just amazing in terms of interior cabin insulation.
Yeah.
Being a monocoque body, the very first ones ever built, they had a solidness to them that no car had ever had prior to that, even race cars.
Right.
So they're playing towards silence and performance. They want it to be quiet. These cars went 70, 80 miles an hour.
Sure.
And if there was a lot of noise in them, well, that wasn't that good. Nobody wanted to hear a loud noise either from the engine, the road, or from the car itself.
Right.
So all of this played into that, and that's why Lincolns cost more, and that's why they had to cost more.
Okay. And what's coming after that? Can you
Well,
tell
we
me
run the engine, we'll put the exhaust system in place.
Yep.
And then we'll run it again and start tuning it with respect to having the back pressure of the exhaust system.
Because you also have that 3-carb manifold.
Exactly. We have our particular 3-carb manifold, which has to be dialed in, and it has to be progressive, so that it runs on one carburetor at idle, and then when you come off idle, another carburetor comes online. But that's all has to be designed and built into the linkage.
Right.
And it's very, very difficult to do that properly and you can do it as well as you can on the car, but you have to get the car out on the street.
Yeah.
You have to see what it's going to do, and then you make your final fine tuning.
Okay.
So,
and what's the status of the upholstery inside?
The seats are done. The door panels are in process. It's really all we need. The door panels can go on downstream. So really, once the dash is in, once the exhaust is done, then we'll start putting the interior together. That means the seats,
Yep.
the trunk panels can be done, and so those will be done the same way we did the other 39.
Yep.
A real simple system we're in. You just make, you finalize what's in the back of the car, and then we clean up everything and put some carpeting on the bottom, and then we can finish the car up. And then it's got some of that sound deadening that we're looking for when we take it out on test drives.
Right.
Because without the upholstery, without the carpet, the car sounds different.
Right.
It sends all this music up through the floor that you may or may not want to hear.
Right.
And so that's you start getting finer and finer results based on the completeness of the car.
Right. Very good.
Yep.
Well, thanks, JB. This is good.